I think that's one of the hardest things about having ADHD is not being able to trust in your energy. Come with me for a mental health reset day because I've been feeling like absolute shit. Make your damn bed. This is such an interesting time in my life because I moved down to this area of California with my boyfriend because he's going to university around here. I had a whole community like back where I used to live in Santa Cruz. Had really like made my own way there and absolutely loved life there. But had felt at some point that I was ready to move on, also because I tend to associate moving my environment with bettering myself and bettering my internal struggles when really it's like wherever you go, there you are, right? Moved down here with my boyfriend back in like November, and I've just been having such a hard time with my mental health because not only am I in a place where I'm extremely struggling still, but now I also have no community down here and don't feel like I can trust my energy enough to start like building relationships and be consistent with them because I don't know how I'm gonna feel like day to day or hour to hour. And I think that's kind of one of the hardest things about having ADHD is not being able to trust in your energy and like really know for sure that you'll be able to follow through with plans. It's really, really hard to like build relationships from scratch when you can't even like make plans ahead of time. The best time of the day, it's a breakfast time, bitch! With finding a community, that's kind of been like one of my bigger struggles down here. Luckily, I got a job that's very like community based and I'm meeting really good people, which I'm very, very thankful for. I'm starting to make relationships through that outlet as well. So that's been a positive change. But at the same time, it's so easy to spend so much energy on those negative thought loops in my head that I think I end up getting like stressed and anxious over situations that haven't even happened or will never happen. Like it's kind of wild. I think in part that is because of anxiety because I'm trying to prepare myself for like all the different possible outcomes and like catastrophizing the different ways that situations could go so that I'm not so like shell shocked if they actually happen. Now that's a bagel. Hey, so it's been a little bit since I ate and pretty soon after eating I started to get a headache, which has been the norm for me this past week. I think that's why my mental health has been especially challenging this past week because in addition to experiencing the usual mental and emotional symptoms of ADHD, anxiety, and depression, I've also been getting a ton of gnarly physical symptoms this past week. So it's been feeling like there's this rapid fluttering in my chest as if there's something that's about to happen, but I don't know what it is. I also feel a lot of like tightness in my chest as well throughout the day. The worst day that I had was a couple days ago and just woke up with the craziest headache nonstop all day. Got to the point where I decided to a little bit just to give me like some sort of relief because it truly is medicine for my body. Shortly thereafter, started feeling extremely dizzy and had to go inside, then just had like the craziest dizzy experience. Basically, I felt like I was completely losing my balance. My vision started to white out. I started to hear a really loud buzzing noise in my ears, and both of my ears felt really full, like I was underwater almost. As this was happening, I was super conscious of everything, and I was like panicking because it was really fucking scary. And I was explaining everything to my boyfriend as it was happening. We talked about it later, and we think the whole episode lasted maybe like 30 seconds. Like it was really quick and really intense. The thing is, this isn't my first dizzy episode that I've ever had. I had really, really similar experiences a couple times when I was younger. One when I was in the mall smelling perfumes with my mom and a sales assistant when I was probably like 7 or 8. And then another time in chorus class where I think my knees had been locked for a long time. And then it happened to me a couple other times as an adult, actually taking really hot showers. I noticed that that was like a common factor. So I don't really have any clarity for what these dizzy spells are. I've brought them up to like medical professionals and doctors in the past. If this sounds familiar to anything that you've been through, I would be really curious to hear in the comments. That was kind of like my mental health low point this week. Had to get one of my shifts covered at work because I was feeling so unwell, so unhealthy. Just knowing to my core that this is not supposed to be how I'm living. So that's kind of what today is all about with a mental health reset day, because I've been having a really tough time. Just am gonna do my best today to really listen to my body and do the things that I know that'll be good for it, even if it takes a little bit extra effort than the easy thing, like scrolling on social media or watching a 17th episode of The Kardashians, which I definitely did yesterday. So we're gonna hop in just with like little brows here. If like I don't do anything else to my face, I'll probably like do my eyebrows or curl my eyelashes and like call it a day. I think my confidence has just really dropped a lot since having such severe symptoms. I consider myself to be a pretty extroverted person and always loved connecting with people, exchanging stories and finding out their views on things and what lights them up, what fires them up, you know? Like I just love to see people loving life and connected to themselves and connected to the outside world. Part of like navigating so much newness in more intensity with my anxiety and depression has been losing some of my self-esteem in terms of being out in the world. I have this impression of myself and how I interact with the world as this like really bubbly and enthusiastic and engaging person. That's who I am at my best, like truly. And it's not accurate, and it's also just not really possible right now because so much of my life is dominated by like not feeling good. The ways that ADHD has permeated so many aspects of my life is just becoming more and more apparent. When I was a kid, like always being kind of a little bit of a daydreamer. Sunscreen, by the way, SPF. I've learned so much from Reddit, from the Asian beauty subreddits, and have found like the best Asian sunscreens that US sunscreens don't even stand a chance. Like if there was a battle of all the sunscreens in the world, I guarantee the top 10 would be Asian sunscreens, light years ahead of us. But anyway, yeah, I feel like ADHD has just really affected so many aspects of my life that I was so unaware of until I got my diagnosis when I turned 30 last September. And I think when we first get diagnosed, there's like a tendency to associate everything in our life with our diagnosis. Truly, like I do think that ADHD really affects a lot of different areas of our life because it's so tied to executive function and social interaction and emotional regulation. All of those things are literally required to like be a functioning human on the planet. I have gone through like a little bit of a mourning process with thinking about a life that I could have had if I didn't have ADHD. But on the other end, there's probably a lot of great things about me too that are linked to my ADHD, like my love for spontaneity and taking time to like just appreciate small conversations with people and making an effort to like lift people up and notice details about them, let them know that like I see them and I think that they're like unique and special in those ways. I think like a lot of what makes me me like also could stem from the fact that my brain just works a little differently and like pays attention to different things. I don't know if any of you out there like relate to anything that I feel like I'm going through right now. If you do, I'm extending the most heartfelt hug to you because this is a really, really difficult place to be in. It's hard to know what the way out is when you're really stuck in the trenches, but I think any like grace that we can give ourselves will ultimately help us get to that place of the self-compassion, the self-acceptance that will be very key parts to our healing journey in general. Gonna pack up some stuff and head out with little Tonester and embark on a mini adventure because it's been a while and I know my body needs some sun today and some new stimulation. So let's go pack up. Okay, y'all, I'm dying. Why did none of y'all watching this teleport back in time and tell me that my one eyebrow looks freaking crazy? We're gonna roll with it. One life. Riding with my boy. Tony and I found the perfect little Narnia nook with ocean views, baby. just started working with a somatic therapist not too long ago. She's freaking rad. She's been telling me to try to stop analyzing everything so much in my head. So my somatic therapist has been helping me be a little bit less up here and focus more on what's happening in my body. I think there's a lot of like phrases that are really popular in therapy and healing right now that are
hot phrases
that you hear a lot that are a little bit like overused and underexplained. I think an example of that would be like
dropping into your body.
I didn't know what that meant for a long time. What that really means is literally paying attention to like the sensations and the feelings in your body, and instead of, you know, analyzing things so much up here, really just getting to know them within yourself. So for example, that's how I've started to figure out that anxiety is sitting in my chest. The way that I would describe it sometimes would be like this tree that's rooted in my sternum, and the trunk of the tree is this like really heavy stone that just sits in the center of my chest here, and then it spreads its branches throughout the rest of my chest and the rest of my body, my stomach, my limbs, everything like that. Through somatic healing, I've been able to like figure out a little bit more some of the ways that my body is reacting to all the things going on in my mind. And I think that truly, like, once I'm able to learn more about that and really dive into that and commit to that, I think that's gonna be like a really key piece to my healing.
Fancy meeting you here. As I'm hanging here, literally, my headache is gone. My body is feeling so serene and so grateful right now. It's pretty insane because the last week that I was having these gnar headaches, I barely spent any time outside because I just felt so lethargic and so just weighed down by the physical and mental pain that I was feeling. And I know for a fact I'm just like a little plant bean. I thrive in the sun. It literally fuels my soul. Being in nature always helps me just take moments of solace with intention. I've always been like really drawn to trees. As a little kid, I would just run around our yard in Pennsylvania and climb trees. I would come in covered in sap, all sticky, and I feel like that part's never really left me. So being in here right now, amidst all these beautiful, magical trees that have probably been here for much longer than I have, I just feel really at peace and really grateful that I chose not the easy button today. I think we all have easy button options when we're feeling really down that we know will numb us out. So for instance, social media, watching TV, playing video games. And then there's those medium buttons that just take a little bit more effort and thought and intention. And you know those are the ones that are actually going to bring you some peace and bring you some connection back to yourself. For me, I think my medium buttons are going out in nature, hiking, being by the water, cooking, exploring new foods, listening to podcasts that can help uplift me out of my dark place, calling a friend. That one's really hard for me because I tend to isolate when I'm going through things because I just feel so alone in my pain, even though there's so many people that have gone through and will go through how I feel exactly in this moment. I'm really glad that I chose my medium button today of being in nature, because being here amongst the trees by the ocean with my sweet little toaster is really just like lightening the load that has been on my soul for the past week especially, and I'm really grateful. I'm gonna turn off my camera for the rest of the hang and just really soak up the moment, and I'm really stoked that you guys came along with us. Thanks for being here and hope to hang with you soon.